What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Thursday. KG's favorite day of the week. Thursday, which means plenty of transfer news, takeover updates, etc. to get into on today's Transfer View. It's 9:02. Hope everyone is doing very well. Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You know, all that fun stuff. Mr. Marcel, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Owen. Good morning, UV community. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit upset. We were just saying before we come on air. Where art thou, Ramses? Where is he? I want to know why Ramses is not with us. Rasmus, sorry, is not with us. Where art thou, Rasmus? I want to know, and that's just my only issue right now. Otherwise, I'm in great spirits. Just had my pancakes, and I'm feeling full, belly full, and I'm in a good mood.
Good. I've also had my breakfast as well. I've been getting up a little bit earlier. You don't want to do these kind of shows on an empty stomach. You don't. So I've had my breakfast too. I've had my banana. Nice. I've had my almonds. I've had, I won't show it because it's advertising, but I've started to have, Marcel, protein pudding in the morning. Pudding for breakfast. I tell you what, guys, go and get it. It's good.
Protein pudding for the breakfast.
Protein pudding for breakfast. I stir in the almonds into it. It's honestly, it tastes like chocolate. Or I've got salted caramel one. It is so good. And have that with my banana and my cup of coffee, and I'm set. And I'm ready. I would recommend it. And it's good for you. Healthy. So this is what we're bringing in. Just some advice this morning as well. But we are going to be talking about Rasmus Hojlund and a bit of a delay to his Manchester United transfer announcement. Yesterday, we thought it was going to be Rasmus Day, and indeed it wasn't. We then found out that it's not going to be Rasmus Day today, nor tomorrow, but possibly Saturday. The likelihood is he is going to be announced during the game at Old Trafford against Lens. Whether he's going to play the next day against Atletico Bilbao in Dublin, we'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. But some details surrounding as to why that is the case, why there's been a bit of a delay. It's no real cause for concern, just more cause for frustration, shall we say, when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund. We're going to be talking a little bit about the takeover and how it's not been paused, even though it might have been paused. About the takeover. We're going to be talking about Harry Maguire, as well as West Ham maybe prepare one final bid for the former Manchester United captain. We're talking a little bit about Sofian Amrabat, the latest surrounding his possible move to Manchester United, as well as Leon Goretzka, another new name on the list, and whether or not that's going to happen, probably not. But still, we're going to talk about it anyway. But we are going to talk about first Rasmus Hojlund. So, Rasmus Hojlund, as we mentioned yesterday, we thought it was going to be Hojlund Day because, of course, a couple of days ago, Tuesday, he was in Manchester. He had the first part of his medical. Yesterday, he had the second part of his medical. So we were just waiting. I was doing, I think, like everyone else, scrolling on the timeline, Marcel, waiting, refreshing. And then we find out, hey, probably not going to happen until the weekend. Now, Fabrizio Romano has said that Manchester United are aiming for the weekend to unveil Rasmus Hojlund as a new signing. Visa and contract work being finalised, the club is aiming for the weekend to seal and announce it. It was also reported by a Danish outlet called I'll try again, Marcel. Extra Bladet, got there in the end, come on, said that the Manchester United press officer, Andrew Ward, confirmed to them that Manchester United are not planning to introduce Rasmus Hojlund until the weekend. This will probably be done during the friendly match against Lens on Saturday, so either at halftime or just before kickoff. Samuel Luckhurst confirmed this by saying Rasmus Hojlund's announcement will likely be delayed until the weekend. Now, the reason he's giving is that he arrived in Manchester later than originally anticipated, which I didn't really understand, considering he's been in Manchester the last 2 days. Before that as well, he was in England last weekend. He was in Bournemouth because Atalanta were playing Bournemouth. And it's not as if there's a huge long travel going from Italy to Manchester. But nevertheless, apparently that's part of a reason for it being delayed. I don't know. He also said that Hojlund's announcement may come around the time of the game, as mentioned, at Old Trafford on Saturday afternoon. Whether or not it's at halftime, full time before the game remains to be seen. What are your thoughts on this, Marcel? Were you a bit disappointed when it came to that? I mean, again, we were expecting he was going to be announced yesterday or even by latest today, and it looks like now it's going to be Saturday. Were you a bit disappointed with it?
Owen, very disappointed. He needs to be on the football pitch, getting used to his colleagues as quickly as possible. We need him ready against Wolves. It's at home. He needed to be playing. He needed to get the warm-up. He needed to be on the grass, the Old Trafford grass, getting comfortable with his surroundings, getting comfortable with his new home. playing in a warm-up match against Lens, preparing for Wolves. He's going to be on the pitch against Wolves. He should be on the pitch ready against Wolves. So he needed to play today. I'm a bit annoyed that we haven't been efficient enough to get it done earlier. But these things take time. And as long as it means that, it's been signed, sealed, delivered, and we're working on the next target or the outgoings, there's, you can look forward to that. But I would have liked to have seen him on the pitch. It would have been really nice, and a bit annoying now. It's a bit of a downer on we're not full. We haven't had a pre-season game with a full strength side and the kind of side with the position and the areas of the pitch, looked after the way that we'd want them to.
I mean, I understand sometimes the bureaucracy when it comes to football. I understand sometimes these things there can be delays, and ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? Not really. It doesn't really matter, because once it's done, it's done. It's just more the fact that, like I said, like not even necessarily him playing on Saturday and Sunday. And you would think if he gets announced on Saturday, there's still a chance that he can be playing in doubling. There's no reason as to not. But it's more, for me, it's the training side of things. If he was announced yesterday, he could be in training today, tomorrow. And then, like I said, play Saturday, play a little bit on Sunday as well. That's like 4 extra days. Mm-hmm. And then you're looking at, again, the game against Wolves, and you're going, oh, actually, okay, he's had a bit of a preseason with Atalanta. He's had time with his teammates. He's had time on the pitch in both games. He's up to speed. He's ready. And if he gets announced on Saturday, whilst it makes a great moment, and maybe that's what they're looking for. Oh, it's a great moment. Look at, because again, I'm tired of that moment. It was great when they did it with Varane, right, against Leeds in 2021, and Rio Ferdinand was pitch side, and they kind of give him the high five and all that kind of stuff, basically saying, you're the heir apparent now. It's you. You're going to be the centre back guy and all that kind of stuff. And then they did it with Casemiro last year, which I felt bad for Casemiro at the time when they did it last year, because it was during the Liverpool match, wasn't it? And there was all of the protests and all that kind of stuff. And, he came out and there were people chanting Glazers out and stuff like that. And he sort of went, well, that's not his fault. He's kind of a bit of a lamb to slaughter there. He's been put in the firing line to take a bit of the heat, really. And now this time it's just, again, maybe like, Romano said, maybe it's just a visa thing and a contract thing, but it just feels like, again, it could have been done quicker. And look, if we play, put it this way, if we play Wolves in that first game of the season and he's on the bench and the excuse is, well, he hasn't had a lot of time, and the result doesn't go our way that day, people will look to this and go, why did that take so long then? What was the issue behind that? And again, I don't want to be like totally, it's just PR. That's all it is, because there might be legitimate reasons behind it. Again, sometimes visas, sometimes paperwork, sometimes there can be just normal delays, but you can't argue that it's not frustrating.
100%, bro. And what's 100%. What's worse is Owen, is that at the end of the day, they've been getting these kind of things wrong for a long time. The way that they dealt with Ronaldo's situation, just like so many things that the Glazers take so long to deal with or to sort out. It's just our club's PR, David De Gea leaving, the send-off, the way that could have been done would have been a lot better. So it's like our public relations in general is just really bad. It needs to get better.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see what some of you guys are saying in the chat at the moment. Gemini says hit the like, of course. Skiliano says, I think visa paperwork takes time to get approved by the Home Office. Not sure this is a big reveal. Erik ten Hag wants players training. Well, I think from their point of view, from Manchester United's point of view, it is a big reveal. This is a young striker, and who they've admitted is what they consider to be a diamond in the rough, and they want to make a big pomp and circumstance about him being announced, certainly. And I don't know, just something feels about something just, and maybe I'm wrong here, and I hope that I am, but something just kind of feels like, they're rushing, and maybe there are legitimate delays, and then it just becomes a conversation of how fast we really do this, or should we just wait? You know what I mean? They go, it's quite close to the weekend, and then as it gets closer, and they go, well, we could announce it maybe Friday or something like that, and they go, well, if we were to announce it Friday. And then maybe they speak to Eric. If we were to announce it Friday, Eric, would he be playing? Would he be playing? He goes, well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. And he goes, we'll just do it. We'll just do it Saturday then. You know, it'll be a thing. You know what I mean? We'll do a big thing. And then that is where sometimes PR and, you know, sort of the comms team can get involved in that kind of stuff. And that is frustrating from a football fan's point of view because, yeah, like I said, people get excited by it and, you know, like it and retweet it and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, all people really want to see is actually him in the kit playing football, scoring goals. Because you think of that moment, the like and retweet moment, what would do better from a point of view of, even if you want to, you know, appeal to a social person, you go, what would do better? Him actually walking out onto the pitch in his new shirt or him actually scoring a goal at the Stretford end in that friendly? What would do better in terms of, you know, reach and stuff like that? Him playing, obviously.
Scoring a goal and playing in a friendly. The quicker he does it, Owen, the better. We don't care about no PR. We want him on the pitch. We want him training, like you said. This is even a better point. What about all the days that he's missing training? These are more important than any sort of PR thing. They need to get him on the pitch.
Some people saying he could be involved in training already. Well, again, it depends about the circumstances of his contract. If he hasn't signed a contract, he can't be in. He still technically could be an Atalanta player, or they don't want to jeopardize a transfer either with a player that's not officially completed and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there's probably like legal things that they can't actually do. So again, it is frustrating, and the general reaction was yesterday that, you know, suddenly now the goalposts have been shifted a bit because obviously if he's being announced Saturday, he's definitely not playing then. Sunday, as a possibility. There's a chance, I suppose. And again, it comes back to how ready he is. He has played part of Atalanta's preseason. He has done training with a preseason training with Atalanta. Again, if he's announced, well, to be fair, and this is maybe the other side of looking at it, okay? United could be really clever when it comes to it, right? Just because he's unveiled Saturday doesn't necessarily mean he can't be announced like on Friday or something like that, right? They could do something, or even today, they could do an announcement of him there with Eric holding up the shirt, putting pen to paper. They can say in the announcement, you know, well, subject to visa and subject to this, that, and the other. And then on Saturday, you do the unveiling, blah, blah, blah. But maybe that is a way you get around of him actually being around the players. And that's the way you get around of him actually building, keeping his fitness up and keeping his sharpness up. And then on Sunday, he can play 80 minutes or even maybe 90. I don't know. But it looks like people are going to play 80 minutes and another group's going to play 10 minutes. So maybe they do something like that. Because if we go throughout the whole weekend and he plays 0 minutes or even like 5, that's a problem heading into the following Monday against Wolves. So, do you think there's any chance he plays on Sunday? Maybe.
The best hope is that on KG Day, Thursday, that something happens. You know, something happens on that day where we get signed. But you're right, though. It would be interesting if they were that savvy to do the clever wording and still officially announce it, but show that obviously subject to visa and other things that he might not be able to play on the Saturday, and will be unveiled to Old Trafford. But I still think something needs to happen Thursday or Friday. You know, if something happens today, tomorrow you get to train on Friday. Okay, play 30 minutes on Saturday. Play 30 minutes on Saturday. Play 30 minutes on Sunday. He needs to get the minutes in his leg with his teammates. We're seeing how Mason Mount is still trying to work and find his best position and his link up with his teammates. Still takes a little bit of time. It's not a straight
or just manage expectations. Just manage expectations. Do an announcement today. In it, say he's not going to play on Saturday, or Ten Hag goes, oh, he's not ready. He's not going to play on Saturday, but he's going to be unveiled, something like that. Maybe, again, do something like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just manage those expectations. Sometimes the frustrating thing can be sort of the silence beforehand, can't it?
Yeah.
You know, and if they sort of, again, almost did a 2-pronged version, if they did something like that, maybe that would be the best thing to do. But ultimately, maybe that's just trying to, we're smoking the copium a little bit there, Marcel. Maybe it is just a case of, you know, it's just going to happen on Saturday. You know, there's going to be an a tweet or whatever just for kickoff, and then he's going to walk out.
Do you think he'll play on no trading minutes with his team? Like he's just like Ten Hag will just say, listen, you sign now. Go and play 30 minutes. That's how you're going to get to know your teammates, by playing the game.
Maybe. I mean, it might be a case of, again, on Sunday, he doesn't start or something like that because they're not too sure. But maybe he does, like you say, maybe he does play 45 minutes. Maybe he's on a different schedule to the other people. Whereas before, like I said, Saturday, one group's going to play 80, another group's going to play 10, and then the vice versa is going to happen, or the opposite is going to happen the next day.
Yeah.
Maybe Hojlund's just in a bit of a different part of that, where it's just like you're gonna you're gonna play. Yeah, you're gonna play in Dublin. We're gonna see how sharp you are, and maybe that's what they do. And again, it is a bit frustrating because you look back to last year during preseason. Of course, Terrell Malacia was the only player that went out on tour last year. We signed Lissandro Martinez, we signed Christian Eriksen in the preseason, but they only played those two preseason games after the tour. One was in Oslo and the other one was at Old Trafford. That's the only ones they played, and then they had to go into the season. So clearly, irrespective of whether he plays a full game on Sunday or whether he plays no minutes, he's most likely not going to be fully sharp and ready the following Monday, is he? He's not going to be in like peaking form because he's had a full preseason. Yes, he's been involved in Atalanta. Yes, he's done preseason training with them. Yes, prior to facing Wolves, he'd have had a week of training, but he won't be like full on, oh yeah, my match rhythm's totally there. He'll still be playing catch up, which I guess is again part of the frustration in this.
Yeah. There's a positive side to that at the same time, though. If he does score and he starts hitting the ground running, maybe we can look to see more of him and hope to garner more out of his abilities. But right now, to expect him to perform, and he's not played with his teammates at all when they had an opportunity to get this done over the line quickly, efficiently, 4 days of training plus a match. Even today, it's still good. I would be. If I was a player and I'm getting signed today and my game's in a couple of days, most would be excited. But I got a couple of training sessions in between that moment. I think it just bodes well for the player.
Super chat from Amanor says, Owen, is Rasmus Hojlund better than Darwin Núñez? Well, of course, as a Manchester United fan, I'll go, of course he is. Of course he is. I honestly can't actually tell you because, again, with Rasmus Hojlund, I haven't watched. This is the thing. Maybe I'm a unique case when it comes to this, Marcel, yeah. But when it comes to other teams, like opposition teams or rival teams, I don't really watch them that much, honestly. Like, I'll watch, like, in the Premier League, if a match is on, I watch them. But I've noticed the amount of, like, opposition fans that love to keep up with how we're doing in pre-season, more so than their other team, is bizarre. And like they are some rival fans are so invested that we played Wrexham in San Diego, like our second team. And I'm going to focus on your own team. Genuinely, it was only because I was scrolling on Twitter yesterday and I saw Liverpool's preseason fixture results. I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know because I don't care. Same with Chelsea. Like again, I don't know, but it's strange, very very strange.
Honestly. The Wrexham result against Chelsea. So I had Chelsea fans coming to me, oh, we beat Wrexham. And I was like, well, we played our second team. And then they were telling me about a Dortmund fixture just the other day, I think it was yesterday or something. And like, a lot of people coming up to me for no reason about their club. I'm exactly like you, Owen. You're not that much of a rare case, bro. I only watch United, men's, women's. And then sometimes if there's a top 6 game that everyone's excited about, okay, I'll watch the Premier League game. But nowadays it's just been Man United, same for me.
Yeah, I watched the Premier League games, but like pre-season, I just could give two shits about like how any of them are doing in pre-season. I don't, because again, you can't really look into it that much. I saw yesterday, you noticed that some of like the social media accounts are absolutely loving that we happened to lose a couple of games in pre-season. Because I saw I think it was ESPN. Oh, United had a difficult pre-season, and it's like, okay. And then like an hour later, they did an Arsenal post and it said, and they used these as accomplishments, Marcel. It was something like MLS skill challenge, tick. MLS All-Star game, tick. Emirates Cup, tick. Community Shield, Arsenal are like cooking in pre-season. I went, are you taking the piss? The MLS or MLS skill challenge, that's a pre-season achievement.
Did you see Havertz as well? Was embarrassing.
Sorry. Or the MLS All-Star Challenge. I mean, I understand that, ESPN's an American broadcaster, but I was like, don't force it. I mean, come on. No one's coming out of the All-Star game going, it's a massive achievement for us. Or the skill challenge. It's not even a football match.
Yeah.
Like, what? Oh, it's crazy. It really is crazy. I mean, and also they're just jealous because they haven't got a Bangkok Cup trophy from last year. That's the main thing. That's the preseason trophy everyone wants. Okay, it's the Bangkok Cup trophy. Liverpool are still incredibly bitter that they don't have it, just due to the sheer size of the thing.
It's massive,
It was massive. It was huge. Actually, it's just pure jealousy. That's what it is. What else are people saying? Manny says we played 5 more games than everyone else. Prene says, I think it's good that we lost. Gives us more footage to review and improve early on. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that whole preseason shock was way more divisive than I thought it would be in terms of people's perception of it. There are many schools of thought on this, Marcel. There are some schools of thought which none of it matters, at all. None of it matters. There are some which say, well, obviously the result doesn't matter, but you look at performances and there can be causes for optimism or causes for concern. And then there are some that are just like, no, any loss is bad and you've got to be worried about it. But I'll just be glad when the season starts, to be honest. Preseason, yeah. I'm already tired of. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the takeover situation, things that I'm bored of. The takeover situation, because a bit of an update from Mike Keegan yesterday on the back of obviously that report that the whole takeover process had possibly been paused and all that kind of stuff. Mike Keegan's give a bit of an update, and he has said that negotiations are currently taking place with multiple parties as the Manchester United takeover saga rumbles on. Now, obviously, there had been concerns raised that the United takeover process might have been paused. However, according to the Daily Mail, they understand that the current situation is that discussions are continuing with a number of groups with a view to a full sale or partial investment. Now, there remains confidence among some close to Sheikh Jassim that they will prevail and their bid will be victorious. However, neither group is thought to have got close to the £6 billion, the £6 billion bid that the Glazer family are reportedly seeking. Just to kind of, I guess, emphasize the fact that nothing's been paused. According to Mike Keegan, architects who have previously worked on a range of plans for such upgrades, including the likes of a new stadium, a new training ground, etc., they have not been asked to draft new scaled-down proposals, which would imply that the Glazers would be staying. They're suggesting that no, we're still planning and designing these state-of-the-art facilities. But this was the thing that I really didn't get. Well, I did. I sort of tried to read in between all of this. So according to Ben Jacobs, he said that those close to the sellers of Manchester United insist that Sheikh Jassim's bid are behind the delays in the sale process. Now, what a crock of shit. Honestly, when I read that, I went, come on, seriously? Because initially I read that and I had to keep reading it like 3 or 4 times. You know, when you've read something, you go, I must be reading that wrong. because that doesn't make any sense. I went, there's something not computing. I was like, Owen needs another coffee or something. Oh, like, what's going on here? I put on reading glasses. I'm like, am I really? I thought, how on earth can you be... Say you're going to be open to selling a club. There is a bid on the table, a world record bid on the table, and they're blaming the bidder. The whole reason why this whole process has been really slow is because it's the bidder's fault. And I went, how on earth can it be the bidder's fault? And then I went, oh, I know how they think it's the bidder's fault. It's because they're basically saying the reason, Marcel, it's going so slowly is because they're not bidding enough. That's the whole thing. They're saying, look, we want £6 billion. If they'd have just put £6 billion on the table, this would have been done a whole long time ago. And you go, wait a minute, the greed involved here. That's what it's all about. It's what I've said yesterday and however many times now. It's all about money. That's all it's about. And I mean, I'm not even a big conspiracy theory guy, but tinfoil hat firmly on this morning, right? Because what happened a couple of days ago? A report comes out, takeover process paused. What happens to the stock? Plummets, goes down over 8%, goes from $22 a share to $20. That's not good. The very next day, less than 24 hours since that report comes out and the stock price tanks, what happens? It's not paused. No, don't worry about it being paused. It's not paused at all. Now, luckily, the last time I checked, it didn't really go that much back up. But, clearly what it is, they're just trying to make it rumble on and drag on. Nothing's happening. Like, nothing's happening with this whole thing. And the nerve to blame the bidders. It's the bidders' fault. Come on, man. That's your fault. It's your own greed.
Yeah, holding the club hostage. And you've been right about it for a long time now, saying, talking on the greed of the Glazers. And I think everyone kind of knows that, the Glazers just want the money. And they're holding the fans and the club, the whole structure of the club hostage for it. To even have, for Ben Jacobs to even put that out in with that kind of language just shows how bad it is and how desperate they are to really get out these kind of opinions out there. Because how can the someone that's putting up the bid, a world record bid, by the way, it's overinflated. The price of the club is way inflated. We were talking about 1 and 2 billion before and thinking, oh my gosh, that's a massive amount of money for a club. How much money have they put into the club? It was a loan that they used to purchase the club. All these kind of things we were trying to fathom. And it's 2 billion was the number. Now it's going up to 3 times that amount. They're holding the club hostage. But I would like to think that Sheikh Jassim holds his nerve. And maybe if he does go up just a little bit more.
I mean, it's just, again, I think it's funny also that they go, it's the bidder's fault. That's the reason it's been delayed. It's the bidder's fault. There's been there was 3 rounds of bid. Sheikh Jassim's on his 6th bid. Like from their point of view, from the Qatari point of view, I think they'd be like, we've been more than flexible. We've already overspent what we would have originally valued the club at. Like you said, it's massively overinflated. The market cap's, I think, like 3.5 billion. Okay, it's going to be higher than what Chelsea was purchased for, but we've got over 5 billion quid on the table for everything. And it's not as if what we're buying, by the way, it's ready to go, put it in the oven. Yeah. You've got a football club that's ready to be successful. Yes, it makes a lot of money, but there's still there's a lot to do. And the bid on top of that, I think it's £5 billion, the fee. And then isn't it like £1 billion pledged on top of that? Again, because they go, look, the reason you put the club up for sale in the first place is because all of these things had to be done. Build a new stadium, or at least renovate Old Trafford, the training ground, the academy, the women's team, just the general infrastructure around that local area of Manchester, and transfers, the debt, which is spiraling out of control, the cash balance. Like, again, it's not ready made. So I can't, I can give you 6 billion. I've got that money, but I'm not going to do that because I've got it's 6 billion. Then it's, an extra 2 billion because the cost is astronomical. Yeah. And then you've got the nerve to be like, well, I think in a couple of years' time, I can maybe get 8 billion or 10 billion for it because of, this, that, and the other, because of television rights and because of Champions League and because of the Club World Cup and because of success. But still, even if the club was worth more in a few years' time, any prospective bidder would still have to do those things that need to be done now, which is, again, the stadium, all that kind of stuff. So, and even if, this is what's wild too, Marcel, even a minority investor that comes in, whether it's Carlisle or whoever it was, Elliott Group, I think was the other one. If they come in and they go, okay, we're willing to give you £1 billion for a minority stake in United, and the Glazers go, okay, thank you very much. It's wild at this point that even $1 billion, you would go, doesn't really solve anything. You can do one thing with that.
Yeah.
You can do one. You can maybe, all right, let's do up the stadium. Yeah. But we still need to do the training ground, and the debt is still massive, and the debt's still out of control. That's all. Those things still need to get done. So I don't, even again with the minority investors, I don't see in long term, that is pure patchwork about what's going on. And again, it's the whole thing is just a farce. It's an absolute farce.
I've had enough of it. Owen. It's honestly, when I look into the messy situation that it's been, I'm just more happy that I genuinely believe this will come to an end and the Glazers will be gone. That will be the day I can celebrate. And I'm just looking forward to that. I don't even like to spend my time worrying about it now, because there was a time before the window we were all thinking, you know what, we'll get this done before the window. We can go and spend 500 and 600 million. We were all dreaming as fans, like we deserve to, I think. And the fact that, this has been dragged on and taken away from us is just annoying now. I don't even spend too much time thinking about how poor, they've been to make a move and a decision on what's going to happen with the club. They've just been holding us hostage is exactly what they've been doing with the fans. I
mean, and again, maybe the saddest thing with this as well, not only is just, the state of Manchester United, but also the fact that, a process that fans were excited about, and we were rejoicing when the news came out the club was up for sale and the strategic alternatives and the bids going in. Now, when you get these stories that come out, like from Mike Keegan yesterday or Ben Jacobs, you just roll your eyes. Like, you don't get excited anymore about it. When it comes out, you just go, oh, whatever. And again, I don't blame Mike Keegan. Obviously, he's been on the channel, and I thought his interview with Flex was really good when he says, and it's a good point sometimes, it is a case of, don't shoot the messenger. I can only report what I've been told. But it's almost a bit like when those people, when they say like, oh, people close to the sellers, The Glazers then.
Yeah.
I mean, the Glazers go, no, it's still ongoing. You go, okay, sure, no problem.
I got a question for you. Do you think that this whole season can go by and there's no movement from the Glazers? You know,
anything is possible, Marcel, at this point. Anything. It was about a year ago that Sir Jim Ratcliffe first had a thing. I can't remember which paper it was. It might have been the Times. And a spokesperson from Ineos had said, you know, we'd be interested in purchasing a majority stake in Manchester United for which would develop into a full takeover or something like that. That was a year ago. The actual announcement that United were exploring strategic alternatives was on November 22nd, I believe. That's about like 8 months ago, something like that. It's entirely possible that this could go on for the entire season because, again, the Glazers, their line is firmly drawn in the sand, which is unless we get the amount of money that we're looking for, that's not what we're going to do. They always say we're determined sellers, but at the right price. And in their mind, that right price hasn't been ticked off yet. The only concern I have with that is I don't think they know what their actual right price is. Because I still believe, despite the fact that all of these people say they want £6 billion, part of me believes that if someone say Sheikh Jassim said, right, okay, then fine, just leave £6 billion on the table, I still think they'd be like, maybe we can get a little bit more, maybe in a couple of years. I don't think they know. And I think that's part of the frustration that a lot of the bidders have. Caramel with Super Chat says they're trying to squeeze a few more dollars because of the Adidas deal. King Stash says, why is it that our best football during the tour was played by the youth and outcast/fringe players? Is the first team not buying into Ten Hag's plan? Well, I would say against Arsenal, the majority of the first team was started, didn't they? And we played pretty well then. I agree with you in the last game against Dortmund. The fringe players absolutely played better than the sort of starters because when the starters came on, even Ten Hag himself said it after the game. He said the last 30 minutes were horrible. They were rubbish, and they were. It was really worrying. And in fact, I'm glad that we've got those preseason friendlies coming up this weekend because had that been the last bit of preseason action that we'd seen, you'd be going into that Wolves game, not with trepidation, but you'd be like, man, as a way to finish preseason, that was a bit crap. It was a bit alarming. So, I'm glad of those preseason fixtures this weekend. Let's move on. Talk about transfers once again. Harry Maguire. Yes, Harry Maguire. He's one of those fringe players that played against Borussia Dortmund. And David Moyes, according to an outlet, is saying that he wishes to try one more time with Manchester United defender Harry Maguire, despite Maguire's reluctance to join West Ham. Marcel, is there any chance by the time the window shuts, September, when is it? 1st or 2nd? I can't remember. One of those days. Is there any chance that Harry Maguire will be a West Ham player? Or what's your prediction? Will he be a West Ham player?
Hopefully. I think there's a few things that we have to do in terms of maybe, supplementing some of the wages. I think he's on a big wage. So you will have to maybe pay some of that. And it's interesting that Maguire doesn't want to go to West Ham. I thought, at one point an offer was tabled and Manchester United didn't want it. But if it's a thing where Maguire doesn't want to leave, that might be a lot more difficult. But I would like to think that he's gone. He has to leave. He's surplus to requirements here. So if I was in Manchester United's position, I would take any offer that's tabled for him just to get him off the books. So Manchester United player started the season? No. West Ham player? No, I don't know. I would like any club. Go to any club. He can play in a mid-table Premier League side. Perfectly fine. So
I don't see him going to West Ham, honestly. And I agree with you. I see that them come in and I go, I think that'd be a good move for you, Harry. You'll play every week. They just won the Europa Conference League. Obviously, last season, when you look at their season in totality, the Europa Conference League win kind of does paper over a bit of stuff because they weren't very good. And actually, there were points where people were like, man, like for a couple of seasons, they were knocking on the door of the Champions League and then they were looking over their shoulder when it came to relegation. And also, this summer has not been a good summer for them because they haven't signed anyone. They've signed 0 players this summer. I think they're the only team in the Premier League not to make any signings at the moment. In fact, it reminds me of when David Moyes was the Manchester United manager and his one summer transfer window, where it was nobody until right at the end. Then we got Marouane Fellaini, and that was about it. So, but the problem is like it says at the end, Harry Maguire's reluctance to join West Ham. But I don't know how many times I need to say it, mate. Like, you're not playing at United. Like, it's so obvious and so blatant. And I appreciate the gusto and I appreciate the determination of you saying, no, I'm going to fight for my spot. I'm going to win my spot back. Win what back? You've lost like everything at United. You've lost your spot. You're not a first team starter anymore. You've lost the captaincy. Again, not because of disciplinary issues or anything like that. You lost it just because of quality. The manager looked at you and said, we've got better options. We've got people that play every single week and we've got better leaders in the squad. Even if it wasn't Bruno Fernandes, he'd have still taken the captaincy off of Maguire because there were other, again, better options than Harry Maguire. So if you can't see that writing on the wall, I don't know what kind of font I need to print it in or how big I need to make the font or what color I need to make it if you can't see it at the moment, because it's obvious. It's really obvious. And as I've said, people around him, that's his agents, his representatives, maybe his family, Gareth Southgate as well, need to pick up the phone or sit him down and say, mate, like if you stay at United this season, yeah, you might play in the Carabao Cup, or yeah, you might play if, a player gets injured or a couple of players. Gus was going to have to take a couple of players get injured, but there's a European Championship coming up next summer, and you're rolling the dice, you're risking it. And also, I think as well, to have the mindset of, no, I don't want to go anywhere because I'm on a big contract, I want to fight for my spot. And come January, then pursue a loan because he won't be playing. And then it'll be a conversation of how can you pick Harry Maguire for a European Championship squad when he hasn't played for 2 years, So it'll be like the Jesse Lingard thing when he was at United. I'll go out on loan. And then ironically enough, he might go to West Ham whilst he went on that loan. But even if he does that and then gets into the European Championship squad, I think that does a disservice to him. It does a disservice to his personality. It does a disservice to his character, because it would imply that he doesn't want to take a risk or take a challenge or bet on himself, prove people wrong. You can't prove people wrong if you're sitting on the bench every single week. You can prove people wrong if you're playing every week and you take a risk and say, look, I know I'm not going to be on the same amount of money that I am at Manchester United, but I'm going to be playing, and maybe next year I can get a better move, or I can make West Ham successful, or I'll play for England, but at least you're playing football. That's not going to happen at Manchester United. It just isn't. I know you had this, vision in your mind that you were going to come £80 million defender and captain. It just hasn't worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. That's the situation. But to have the reluctance to join West Ham, West Ham are still playing in the Europa League this season because they won that competition. You're still playing European football. Who's to say? I mean, again, yes, they haven't had a good summer and they've lost Declan Rice. Who's to say they still might not have a good season? You never know. So I don't know what Maguire sees in that, honestly, in terms of his future at Manchester United, apart from the fact that he's on a massive contract, which again makes it really difficult for us to sell. That's where I agree with you in comparison to the McTominay one. McTominay, I still say you should try and get like 40 million. Maguire, it might be 20, it might be 25 because he's on 200k a week. And from West Ham's point of view, they're like, we can't really afford that. So I get that one. But again, I don't see what he sees for his future at United, honestly.
No, you was on fire there, because you need to maybe get on the phone to him and let him know, because it was perfectly articulated. There's nothing really you can add to that except for positive signs is that David Moyes wants him. So there is a manager that wants him. So he needs to go look into how David Moyes can get more out of his game currently, because like we all know, he's surplus to requirements currently with his skill set currently. So he needs to leave. And if he wants to improve his career, it's a good point as well. You mentioned about England. I didn't even think about that. How can Southgate even dare pick a man that hasn't been playing, 50, 60, 70% of the games over the last couple of seasons? So, it's going to be a very difficult position for him to be in. In terms of the delusion, the way that he's been speaking in the media about our club, about the captaincy, throughout the last couple of seasons has been absolutely horrible. So, the delusion with Maguire is definitely set in deeply. But let's hope that obviously he can get a move and he can really improve and kick on with his career, because that's like you're saying, just in terms of the personal development, he needs to be able to kick on now. He's getting a bit older, technically in his defending prime, around his age, or I think he's like 31, 30. So
Yeah, 30, I think something like 29, 30. I
in the
mean, that's the
prime,
thing as well. That's the thing as well with him. And it's not even when I say that, you need to see the writing on the wall. It's not even out of like, oh, Maguire, my guy's rubbish. He's a fridge. He's this, he's that. Because people are ridiculous when it comes to Harry Maguire. I mean, for instance, when Victor Lindelof made the mistake against Borussia Dortmund, I see people going, Harry Maguire. You go, what? It's like a tick for some people, honestly. Anything bad happens at United, they go, Harry Maguire. And you go, what? Like, it had nothing to do with Harry Maguire. But the point is, again, he's not good enough. But you have to be fair. Like, a couple of the preseason friendlies, he did all right. Yeah, he made the mistake that Onana screamed at him for. Okay, that happens. But he did all right. But it doesn't change his position at United. And it doesn't change the fact that there are 3 defenders ahead of him, maybe even more than that, including Luke Shaw. Yeah. So it's over. Like it's over again. It's like a bad relationship. Eventually, you have to sit each other down and go, I don't think this is working. You go, yeah, it's not working, is it? No, actually, I don't want this anymore. You might want this, but I don't want this. And it's better for you if you leave. That kind of stuff. Maybe that's very passive aggressive. It came across like that, Marcel.
I felt that. That was a bit
but the point being is that again, it's not working out. But as I said, I don't think he's going to go to West Ham after all that. Clearly his mind is still, I can prove people wrong at Man United, but I don't see how. I don't. Let's get to these super chats. Got a couple more, Marcel. Let's just see what these people are saying. Where are we? Lil Yo-Yo says, I'm sure Maguire would do well at Olympiacos. Come on, Lil Yo-Yo. I see what you've done there. Have you seen what he's done there?
No.
Where's Olympiacos? What country is it in?
In Greece.
Yeah. Real time, we saw that. Ahmad says, transfer. Always been a member for 5 months as well. Appreciate 5 months of support from Ahmad. Sheikh Ahmad says, transfer pause, transfer not pause, sale imminent, Glazer staying, sensing stock manipulation, and surely a few making bank. Well, some people have been saying that. I don't know. I don't even know. Like I said, with that whole takeover stuff, I'm so just boy who cried wolf 10 million times at this point. Yeah. I don't know what to believe. Caramore says, I was exposed to Moyes Ball for 9 months, so I can't blame our ex-captain for not wanting to leave. Southgate is his blood brother, so his England spot is safe. Well, certainly that last bit is true, because Gareth Southgate, why Gareth Southgate is still in a job for the England national team, I have no idea. I know not everyone's in the chat isn't English, so they don't care sometimes when we talk about international football. Frankly, I don't care that much about international football until it gets to big tournaments. But Gareth Southgate, I said this since 2018. I haven't been on that Southgate hype train since 2018. Like this, he's not the right guy. And for me, I see like a proper golden generation of English talent that's actually getting better as well. The young talent's still coming through and getting better and better and better. And it's like, Gareth Southgate's still in charge, man. I don't.
Because of him, there's no Musiala. Well, not maybe just because of him, but part of
no, just him as well. Like, again with his favourites and. Yeah. You cannot shy away from World Cup 2018. We will never have a better opportunity at getting to the final. Not going to say that we should have won it, but getting to the final. Euros, don't even get me started on that Euros. It was home games. I know we played one game outside of England, but it was a home game. Every other game was at Wembley. We struggled against Denmark in the semi-final, and then we play Italy in the final. And Italy, that wasn't even that good, that they couldn't even qualify for the next World Cup. Went out to Macedonia. We went 1-0 up early on. Cool. The same thing we did against Croatia a couple of years prior, and we still made the same mistake again and again and again. And then when we played in the World Cup against France in Qatar, it wasn't as if France were playing amazing, because they weren't. And he still was picking favourites. Sterling was playing all the time. The fact that Sterling was awful last season. Rashford is in form. He brings him on with like 10 minutes left. He's just... I don't get myself. I don't get Gareth Southgate. And afterwards as well. And then people start pointing to his record afterwards. They go, yeah, but look at what he's done. No English manager has done what he's done since then. You go, yeah, because of circumstance. Like, again, he's got such a good group of players. And they go, yeah, but you have to beat who's in front of you. What good side have we beat to get to where we got in these competitions? And if people say Germany at the last Euros, that is bullshit, because it's been proven at this point that Germany aren't what they were. That was Joachim Löw's final tournament. And it was just, honestly, don't like it.
I have no comment on any of that.
I'm good. 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 Move on. Sofian Amrabat. I'm on fire this morning, Marcel. A bit of an update on Amrabat. Fabrizio Romano has said that Sofian Amrabat has no doubts. He has said yes to Manchester United. He wants to move since first talks in June, despite rich Saudi bids. He has never said that he's staying or anything similar. There's no official bid yet. Man United will send it as soon as Fred/Donny leave. Now, obviously, we know that Donny is not on the verge, but he's in discussions with Real Sociedad about a move there. It was reported, I think, yesterday or the day before that they've made an official approach to Manchester United for the Dutch midfielder. So that one could happen fairly soon, possibly a 15 to 20 million pound deal. Fred, I mean, it was reported that United had dropped the asking price. You know that Galatasaray are interested. We know Fulham are interested, possible couple of Saudi bids interested. But I guess they're just waiting now. Well, all we've got to wait for, we spoke about the timeline before. It's Hojlund, get him through the door, then sell players, and then get Amrabat. But they're actually saying it's not necessarily sell players, it's sell a player and then bring Amrabat in. So we're just waiting for Fred and Donny. So could United be smart with this, Marcel, and be like, let's get everything lined up? And then the moment that Donny's gone, we can really push on with it?
Yeah, that would be a brilliant idea. You know, Fred already looking like, you know, a move or a bid. You know, he'll be gone soon. You know, he's one of those. I look like he'll be on his way out. Donny look like there's a few that you can get done, you know, reasonably quickly. You know, we've seen a lot of reports with Fred. Seen a lot of reports with Donny. Listen, if we can get those two out and then get the player in, again, these are players that want to join the club. You know, that was a problem for us years ago. You know, but right now, if you can get Amrabat in, hopefully maybe midway your second game, by the time it's the second league, I don't think you get it done before. I was saying before you know, the start of the season, that's just hopeful. It's not going to happen. So if you can get it maybe by game week 2, game week 3, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I still, like I said, I'm still fairly confident this one will probably happen. I'm not too concerned about it because, again, those players like Fred and Donny, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And if by all accounts they're just waiting for one or both of them to leave, then maybe it's just going to be a case of it's going to be a couple of weeks. When it comes to people like Fred, it's not as if no one's interested. People are interested. It's just the price. And United have dropped that price. Donny, again, it's not a case of nobody's interested because we know that Real Sociedad are interested. So I guess it's just how long it takes for those deals to get done. Hopefully, those people that are in for those players, so Sociedad with Donny and whoever decides to go for Fred, whether it is Galatasaray or whether it is these Saudi bids, hopefully they operate fairly quickly. And if they operate fairly quickly, then maybe we can get the Amrabat deal done. So I'm still fairly confident, like I said, with this one. I still think we'll get him. It's just a case of how long is it going to take. But like you, it's not going to happen before the beginning of the season, certainly.
Question for you, Dan. So far, thus far, obviously, there's been what it's going to be. Amrabat will be what, our fourth signing?
Yes.
So just with the 3 now, then, or with Amrabat, you can include Amrabat. How, in comparison to last season's window, how good do you think this window is? Like and how do you feel about Erik ten Hag's first 2 summer windows? Because he's added quite a lot of quality in both of them. But do you think this one's an improvement from the last one, or was the last one more important?
Well, this is a good question, Marcel, because I put this out on my Twitter yesterday. I said, Mason Mount, Andre Onana, Rasmus Hojlund, Amrabat. How would you rate that window? And it was quite a broad spectrum on it. You know, there were people that were saying 8 out of 10. There were people that were saying 6. There were people that were saying 5. And people were saying even lower than that. For me, I think in comparison to, I saw Sky did a graphic of all of the permanent signings that Ten Hag has made during his tenure at United. And obviously, the ones he's made this season, it's too early to judge. Can't judge them. They haven't even played official games for United yet. Yeah. But I'm looking at the ones he made last season, and I think maybe apart from Anthony, who you would say jury's still out on that one, not a flop. People were trying to really heavily push home last season. He's a flop. He's not a flop yet. If we get to the end of this season, then it's still like, then maybe you're getting into that territory. But this season will be the season. Apart from that, I think all of his signings have been good. They've all paid off.
Yep.
Alessandro Martinez revolutionized our back four and how we play out from the back. Casemiro had a huge doubters about him of actually he was just a body in that Real Madrid midfield, but we saw his class and his importance. Christian Eriksen on a free. I mean, once you're a free transfer, you know, just a little bit of a contribution means you're a success. And he was a success. Since he came back from that injury at the beginning of the year or whenever it was, it did kind of feel like we maybe haven't seen the best version of him since then, maybe. But you can't overlook how important he was at the beginning of last season. I remember when we played Liverpool, when we played Arsenal, he was so important in those games. And he had some really important games for us. And again, he's free transfer. So, the risk is much lower. So I think he's been a success. Terrell Malacia, he came in for like 12 million as a backup left back. I think as backup left backs go, he's been a success at United. He played important games again at the early start of last season. I think he also pushed on Luke Shaw as well. So I would say when it comes to the permanent signings, I think Ten Hag's got a really strong track record, which again makes me confident with these signings that he's just made, because I look at them and go, well, every single time he's really wanted a player, granted there's a small sample size because we've only had one summer transfer window, but every single time he's wanted these players, they've tended to succeed. And again, the only one would be maybe Anthony that you're not too sure about just yet. And frankly, had Anthony came in for the price point that was originally quoted, then maybe the scrutiny wouldn't be as high. The problem is with Anthony is it was 100 million euros. So that's like 80 odd million pounds. You look at his performances last season and even the performances he's got to do this season, you go, hey, he's got to really up his game. Yeah. If he had come in for 40 million quid or even like, 50, 60, we wouldn't be talking about it as much. We'd be like, well, but, it didn't cost as much. It's just a high price point when it comes to that. So I think Ten Hag's done well in the market. This summer, you asked me the question, how would that be in terms of a grade this summer? I'd probably give it a 7.
Nice.
I'd probably give it a 7. I'd say that it's addressed, a few issues. Obviously, clearly the goalkeeping situation was an issue in terms of, again, De Gea was coming to the end of his contract. They had to make a decision. They had to go one way or the other. I think they went the right way, ultimately, in the end. Mason Mount added more legs to the midfield and a bit more intensity and energy, which we saw towards the end of the season was needed, particularly when you got people like Eriksen that don't have the legs. Obviously, we needed a striker. Obviously, that's what we needed. Amrabat, again, adds more legs to the midfield, more options, more quality to the midfield. So I think that's positive. The thing that would take it up even higher is if we've got another striker. That's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for another striker. And then people saying, oh, another centre-back.
Yeah.
Maybe like a younger centre-back. But I still say over a centre-back, if you give me now, what would you rather get, Owen? A centre-back or another striker? I get another striker any day.
Okay, so right now in terms of priority, it's definitely striker, then centre back, and then what would the next position be after that? Then what a winger, a right winger, really to a world class right winger. Maybe not this summer, but just going forward.
Oh, just moving forward. Depends how the season plays out. It's difficult to say that one because those spots become more apparent as the season goes on, as time goes on. But it would definitely be another striker because again, I think that was the aim, was to get another striker in, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, how would you grade it?
I'm gonna because I believe that there's still 5 to. I still believe there's gonna be two more if we were including Amrabat and one more. So right now I'm gonna give it a 6. But in terms of the importance, I feel like this one's more important than the first one. The first one was really good, like you said, and I agree with you in terms of how good it was. And I rated that one really highly. But so far, as just the 3, maybe if we want to consider 4 Amrabat, I'm going to give it a 6. Once we get that, for me, I think we should be getting a centre back. I'll put it up to an 8, and then it'll be nice to get maybe another striker in. But I think we'll do all right with Hojlund up there. And Martial, I was saying it before, I could see Martial staying just because of the situation that we're going to be in for juggling the books. So there's 2 strikers there that can rotate and share the forward line.
People forget Zao, actually, when it comes to our midfield options, like obviously we've got Mason Mount. We're assuming we're going to get Amrabat. But Kobbie Mainoo's basically like a new signing. I know he's not available the first couple of months, but in terms of how many games he's going to play this season versus last season, he's going to be like a new signing. So you almost got 3 new midfield options that you didn't really have last year. Yes, Kobbie Mainoo was at the club, but he wasn't really a midfield option because you would think, oh, maybe it's a bit too much too soon for him, honestly. So I think the midfield, not that it's completely sorted because you never know which player is going to become available in the future, but I wouldn't see a need to touch that for a while. Again, for me, it would be strikers, and I agree. Then you look into sort of centre back, right wing, or something like that. But so far, I think it's been a decent window, particularly when you consider the financial fair play struggles and the takeover situation. I think that they've done quite well. How many likes we on Marcel? Marcel's a shambles.
Oh, it's going to be like only 340.
Oh, no. It's even worse than that. It's even worse than
260.
that. We're currently at 232 likes. Yeah. Some would say it's criminal.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it is criminal what's going on in terms of the like button. I know Marcel likes to times the minutes by 10.
Yeah.
It's currently 9:56 with 2:65.
We should be double.
And this is the thing. Sometimes, Marcel, people criticize. They'll say, why do you keep telling people to click the like button? Just focus on the thing. The problem is, if you don't, people forget. Yeah. It's like doing everything in throughout everyday life. There are things that you should be doing that you always forget. All the time. You go, have you done the washing up? Oh, damn, I forgot to do it. Sometimes you need a reminder. It's no problem. No problem. Sometimes when you're watching TV, what can you put on things? Put a reminder on it. You'll forget that it's on. You'll be doing something. It pops up, goes, oh, it's about to start. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's no problem. That's what you got to do. So if you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe to in the bottom right-hand corner. Road to 150. Yes, 150K. Less than 1,000 to go.
Yeah,
indeed. Finally, very, very quickly, we spoke about other additions. There's a story coming out from Germany, from Florian Plettenberg, saying Leon Goretzka from Bayern Munich is still on Manchester United's list. The last 10 days have clearly shown he won't be a starter under Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich. Is there any chance we sign Leon Goretzka, Marcel?
Maybe a ploy to secure Amrabat, because that's what we've been doing recently, going, this is the alternative target, and we're going to pursue them, and then Ten Hag gets his man, but I don't know. We don't need an additional midfielder, like you said perfectly. Kobe's there. Once we get Amrabat, as far as I've been saying for the longest, for a little while now, the midfield's complete. Once you get Amrabat in, no matter what, however you want to cut it and slice it, you've got a very good 10, a competent 8, and if you want to secure it, you can add a stronger 8 or 6/8. The midfield's complete there, so I wouldn't see a need for Goretzka. Gravenberch, I think, is still at Bayern Munich, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's somebody that I would have liked to maybe for us to be linked to more than Goretzka. I don't see any weight in this.
No, I don't. I think it's I don't see anything in that one. I think it's
the biggest piece of dog shit.
We're not getting Leon Goretzka. Sometimes you just get still Man United at the end of the day, so we still get linked to people that clearly we're not in for. So it's like Leon Goretzka, and you go, we're not. Yeah, we're not in for him. Like you said, we've done our midfield signings. We're going for Amrabat. If we did sign Goretzka, I'd be like, what's this obsession with flooding the midfield with all of these midfield signings? So no, we're not getting Leon Goretzka, but sometimes if they said it in the article, he's not going to start for Bayern, so he's angling for a move. So even if he's not going to United, throw out there that United are interested, and suddenly people perk up. The next thing you know, you've got to move somewhere. So I think that one is going to happen there. But there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Another transfer view in the books. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. More content on the horizon. Flex and KG sooner. Flying back from Vegas. I'll be back soon. We're out of it. Have a good one, and we'll speak again soon. Peace.